Hey everybody, Anarchy here with another video. Today's video is the first part of my series, which is called 2020. What went wrong? So, in this series, I will break down why a strategy failed and talk about ways to improve it. Today's video is about a match between Tyloo and Immortals. Tyloo is going to take mid control on Cash, and then attack towards the B site, which is what I will focus on. Here are each player's perspectives. Fancy Houch's job in this round is to be the entry. We're going to see that he clears checkers. He didn't clear the box because he had Molotov'd it out earlier, but he takes a little extra peek there, doesn't end up battering. But when he gets flashed, notice that he runs backwards into the corner. That's a huge deal. His teammates couldn't push in because he didn't make any space. He's the only one who got a kill, but it didn't matter. DD's job in this round is to clear out checkers with his teammate Fancy Houch. His responsibility is then to watch vents, but because he knows no one could be there for about 15 seconds because they just took mid, he's just going to take a lot of peeks towards the site and back his teammates up when they get peeked on. He actually plays this quite well. He unfortunately does get taken down by Showtime on a really insane peek, but he played that personally fine, and strategically his positioning was great. Somebody's job in this round is to come out of B main a little bit late. He's just in before attacker, but his goal is to smoke tree first, which he does by peeking instead of by throwing it off the wall. And then he tries to push in towards the left side of the site, but he gets killed before he can do anything. Attacker's job in this round is to be the last player in, aside from Captain Mo. I think that was a miscommunication. He makes sure that the box is clear just by checking it with his teammate, and then he's going to go out last. But we see he has two valuable flashes that aren't used, and when he does go out, he just stands in the middle of it. He doesn't go anywhere. A big factor in why they lost that round was not using those flashes. I'm not exactly sure what Captain Mo's job in this round was, as he was extremely late towards B. I originally thought he might have been lurking mid, but as we're going to see, he doubles up and ends up going through the vents much later than his team, which I don't really understand. He's just far too late for the push, and he has a valuable Molotov that doesn't end up getting used until his teammates have already been shot at quite a bit. Lucas plays this round extremely well. He's over here on the box, and he's going to throw a pop flash right about now as soon as the push starts happening. His team calls because they pushed A main, throws the flash, and uses it to take a pick, and then he immediately backs up, but notice he saw his teammate Heaven. He peeks out, his teammate Heaven's pushing, so he decides to peek with his teammate. He goes down, but he played that round extremely solidly. Showtime is the other B site player. He's going to unfortunately miss a couple shots, but he's just taking pot shots left and right, switching between the angles, and he's going to play this extremely well. Unfortunately, he does miss a couple shots, like I said. That's one of them. We see he throws a pop flash with his teammate, and he creates multiple pick opportunities for himself by peeking left, right, and he does this over and over again, and as we see, he gets two big frags on the entry. Henny was watching Z to make sure that they don't get flanked, and he's going to make a nice, strong, aggressive play. His teammates are all covering for him. He makes sure it's clear, and then he pushes Heaven and kills two players on the ground, not looking up towards Heaven. Strong play here by Henny. So what really went wrong in this round? Let's watch in half speed while I break it down. The first part of any push is grenades, and Tyloo didn't even Molotov the site. They didn't even flash in either. Attacker had two flashes they could have used. The only smoke that I actually used was towards tree. The second part of any push is creating space with your entries while taking the site, and that didn't happen either. Immortals counter flashes, which we just saw, combined with Fancy Houch's hesitation, as we saw he backed up, they didn't get any space created either. And lastly, look at Tyloo's routes. Multiple players stood out in the open during that whole push, and they made their way towards the right side of the site, where they can get easily killed by Heaven instead of wrapping under Heaven to the left. This was a very sloppy round. Immortals will always have won it. The first thing I want to talk about on how Tyloo can improve this round is their grenade usage. Number one, Captain Mo threw his Molotov in an unsafe way, which caused him to die. He threw it off the wall like that. Instead, you can just throw it off this wall, which allows you to be safe, and lands it in the exact same place, like we see. But also, the Molotov was late. That Molotov needs to go out as the push is beginning. You throw the Molotov, then you throw all your flashes, and you go in. Now flashes, that's something that Attacker didn't use, that's something that DD had and didn't use, and also Captain Mo had a flash, but he died before he could use it because he threw the Molotov in a risky way. Some flashes that would help you going into the site are Attacker can throw a flash like so, just up in the air. Doesn't have to be super effective at being a pop flash. You just need your player to get out of checker safely, which this allows. Anyone looking checker will be blinded. This means flash goes off, Fancy Houch is immediately behind the flash going in. Also, you can throw flashes into this corner, which is very useful. because that corner won't blind any players pushing under heaven, but it will blind anyone pushing from over here. Here's an example. Attacker throws his flash. DD will then follow up with a flash into that corner like I talked about. And then also, messed it up. Just like that. And then attacker will follow up by throwing a flash into the exact same corner. This allows Fancy Houch to go out with the flash, so the flash goes up, then you throw those two flashes into the corner, and as long as you hug the wall like this, and you don't look over this direction, you won't be blinded, but you can push in just fine. Captain Mo, had he thrown the Molotov in a safe way, he has a fourth flash for the team, and he can throw it in the exact same manner. It will land on the back of the site, and it will blind anyone in this position. So with all those flashes, your entry can get in for free. Now the second thing I want to talk about is the way that Tyloo pushed into the site. The first thing is that they didn't smoke heaven, which is totally fine, you don't need to. But if you're doing that, you can't push out towards the site this way. You're exposing yourself to too many things at once. Exposing yourselves to players on the site, and to heaven, and anyone peeking out from over here. Right? 3 things at once is too many. Also, you have no control from this position on when you take your fights. The idea of one of the players pushing out towards here is that you can kill a player on default. But instead of doing that, a much more effective way is to throw that Molotov earlier and force this player either out of his spot or to throw the smoke. Then, if you have heaven smoked, you can also push out. But since they didn't have heaven smoked, they should have never gone here in the first place. The way you take B site without smoking heaven, I've made a video on this, is you wrap under heaven. That way you don't expose yourself to heaven at all. And like I talked about, you can throw all those fancy flashes and get in for fucking free, man. For free. Right? It goes a lot smoother. Now, in order to do that properly, you need at least 2 entries going under the site. Because you're only attacking it from one angle, you need more bodies to make sure that it works. So a more effective way to round out the completion of the strategy, you throw all the flashes I talked about, but after DD throws his flash here, he's going to push out with Fancy Houch, and they're going to push into the site together. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe, and if you like the video, please leave a like. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.